Touching on my favorite prop bets in NBA today on this 1-11 slate, let's get into it. So right now, as it sits, individually, I don't think we are getting that many great bets as it sits right now. Really, there's only one. And obviously, I'll touch on that at the end of this video. So what I'm going to do for the first part of this video is going to be touching on the stacks. And what I mean by stacks, they are going to be plays that really individually I don't like as much. And this is something I probably could have done a better job of explaining with the previous videos. When I'm running out of stack, I want to run out stacks that are going to correlate together, that if one of them hits, the other ones are going to be likely to hit as well. And so that's what I'm going to be chasing for the first portion of this video. There are two game stacks that I like. There are two games that have high over and unders, and there are ones in which Vegas thinks the stacks would be kind of more likely to hit. So those are going to be the first ones I'm going to try to hit. And then because we do not have like great individual plays as it sits right now, and guys, I can't control the prop board in the morning, that'll change throughout the day, and maybe I'll come out with another video once we get more props and if we get better props. But because we don't have great NBA ones, I'm going to give you guys another NHL one today, because right now as it sits, they got about a 58% chance to hit. Obviously last night we used Anders Lee in NHL, who had a really good odds to get shots on goal over, and he did. So with the Taco Tuesdays, that was really beneficial. All three of the Taco Tuesdays hit, so that was fun. So let's go ahead and get into the stack. So the first stack that I'd be looking at would actually be the Bucks versus the Hawks. Okay, this game does have a high over and under, and it's projected to be a close game. So 236 over and under, and it's like 1.5. I think the Bucks are favored by. So it's a close game, and so we shouldn't have to worry about the blowout risk factor, which is going to mean all these plays are going to be a little bit better, a little bit more safe. So Giannis is very interesting given this prop. Okay, with Jrue Holiday off the court, doesn't average, or he does average barely over this, but with Jrue Holiday off the court, it's like he is a much better play, a much safer play. So with Jrue Holiday back healthy and active, like we're not going to see these very high, crazy, great games that he had. Okay. And if you look at what he's done against Atlanta, it really hasn't been great thus far. 2 games, 27 and 25. So really not good outcomes. But I want to point out those 2 games were more blowouts, and he did not get his final rotation in both of those games. Now, in the game that stayed close against Atlanta, got a couple more minutes in that game, 34 points. So still not great. But the part that is appealing here is that Clint Capella is still out. So for some reason, the Hawks, with their athletic bigs and John Collins and Clint Capella, just give the Bucks trouble, specifically Giannis trouble. So with Clint Capella out, that is going to help Giannis out. And I think that's kind of why Vegas is giving him a 56.5% chance to hit the over of 32 points. Like I said, though, individually, I don't exactly love that. But when we pair it together with another bet that would correlate, and maybe another one, like we are both establishing kind of a game script. And if the 3 bets hit, obviously we are getting a great payout because of that. And that's really what we're chasing with the stack, is trying to hit that payout number. And if we can do that, obviously more than we don't, or even 50% of the time, we are benefiting given the payout structure of PrizePicks. So currently Trae Young has the same percent likely to get the over here, 56.5 as Giannis, and Trae Young is definitely an interesting play. If Giannis does go off and he's scoring a lot, you would think in a game that is projected to be high scoring that also Trae Young would be going off and scoring as well. We can see he has been someone that has been able to get this over 4 out of the last 5 games, so that's a little bit more encouraging as well. Look at his games between the Bucks. He's only had 2. One game he went way over, killing him, and the other game 21 points. Okay, so there is that little bit of a risk factor in there as well, and he did play 34 minutes, which is basically what he normally gets, so that would be the worry here. But once again, we are kind of saying that if Giannis goes off, Trae Young's gonna go off, or if Trae Young goes off, Giannis will go off as well. And now right now Vegas is saying that Pat Connaughton over 9.5 points is actually the way to go. I don't know, I kind of like to go like with Mike Conley last night, where it's like he's been under 10.5 points so far, or for a while now, that he's just due to go over that number. That's kind of how I feel about Pat Connaughton. Like he has been over that number a little bit too much lately, to the point where I think it's got to come down a little bit. He is someone that didn't play against the Hawks though as well, so we don't really have any data to go off of there. Not terrible. Someone you could toss in there. I actually like the next one a little bit better, and so does Vegas. It's going to be Jrue Holiday over 4.5 rebounds. Okay, so if this game is a higher scoring game, obviously we expect a little bit more shot attempts, and then maybe, Jrue is getting a few more rebounds. And Vegas has this set at -135, so about 57% chance that this hits. So obviously if you're doing this game stack, what we'd be looking at is something like this. And really the goal tonight is to have one of these stacks hit. So the next stack, let's get into it. All right, so the next stack that I would like would be Houston versus the Kings. Okay, the biggest worry with this stack is that the potential for blowout. So I would say with that, we probably want to be on the Kings a little bit more. And I'm going to use the Sixers last night as a perfect example. Last night, in that game, Detroit's starters, like 3 of them were ruled out right before lineup locks. So with that, we saw the odds of the game really shift in the Sixers' favor. You know, with that, someone like Harris and Maxey, they didn't get as many minutes and they missed their overs barely. But the studs, James Harden and Joel Embiid, and especially Embiid, was able to get his over kind of easily. Okay, so typically speaking, I would say in games that are projected to be blowouts, I kind of expect the studs to still be able to get there. And so that, in that sense, I would probably want to chase more of the Kings in this game. Like if I'm doing 3, I would want to have 2 Kings. Just the chances of them being the reasons why it's a blowout are there. And if it stays close, well, they should still have a good chance to get there because they're still going to be on the court a little bit more. So with that, if we are trying to game stack this, I think Sabonis hitting the over here would make some sense. And once again, they have him at 56.5% chance to hit that over. And so with that, I actually don't mind the idea of running it back with someone like Sengun. Now, Sengun, we know who he is as a player. He is a strong per minute player. So what we are hoping for are that the minutes are going to be there. Okay, 2 of the last 2 games, the minutes have been there for him. In those games, 35 and 32 minutes. Kind of, I wouldn't say easily, but kind of easily got there. You know, the shot attempts were there, 14 and 15 shot attempts, which is huge. You can see other games that he gets over 30 minutes. You know, it's just huge. That's what we need. Or even over 25 minutes is what we want. So that's the biggest worry, is that if this game does potentially blow out, like Vegas is saying, I would say that does reduce the chances of him getting the over here. At the same time, Vegas is still valuing him as someone that has a 56% chance to get the over here. And at 14.5 points, it's really not that much for a guy that does, you know, shoot the ball a decent amount. And so the thought process here is that if this game stays close, and that's really the biggest bet here, is that the game will stay close. Then Sengun would both get his minutes and be able to get the over. And so like individually, not a terrible bet as a whole, but let's try to add on another pick to it. And to me, that would be Kevin Huerter. Now, I don't love this as much, but at the same time, he does have the best odds still at 56.5 to get this over. 15.5 points, not that much. We can see he's been right around that number a decent amount. Obviously, in a higher scoring game, you expect him to be able to maybe get another point or 2. And so that's why I like him, you know, to pair with this stack if we're trying to go that far. So in theory, Ja Morant over 27.5 points should be the top bet today as it sits right now. So first and foremost, Vegas has him valued as someone that has a 57% chance to get this over, which is better than the last few guys. Obviously, Drew Holiday was someone that had that as well, but we're getting him at minus 135 to get this over, which is huge, okay? Obviously, given the fact that he's been able to do that in 3 out of the last 5 games, that's going to be encouraging. And it's also the fact that he was able to do it against the Spurs earlier on this season, where he scored 32 points. The biggest risk with Ja tonight is going to be the fact that this game is projected to be a blowout. The Grizzlies are favored to win by like 13.5 points as it sits right now. Okay, so that does worry me. What doesn't worry me are 2 things. One, Desmond Bane and Ja Morant both coexisted in this previous game. They both scored over 30 points. So it's not like we for say would have to worry about one player just getting hot and going off. I think they can coexist in this game and get the over, especially for Ja. But let's just say you are worried about that game blowing out. You're worried about Ja not getting that final rotation. Well, then we could do a simple thing and chase Ja Morant points over in the first half. And so if you were doing this, you would be saying that, hey, yes, I do agree with Vegas. I do think this game is going to blow out. I don't think Ja is going to get his second half points. Now, I, for the most part, do like to chase the full game because obviously if you're doing one half, you are reducing the sample size that we are getting. Thus, you are somewhat reducing the odds. At the same time, this is a very high spread. 13.5 points is a ton. And at the same time, like if that game is a blowout, Ja would most likely be part of the reason as to why. I just think that I like this approach a little bit more. I do feel like it's going to be a safer approach. We shouldn't have to sweat it as much. So it's going to be for you guys to decide which one of these 2 that you want to go with. I am going to go with the first half one, and then we are going to go with the NHL prop. And so part of the reason that we are doing this is we are getting the best odds for him to get more shots on goal. Like I don't know anything about hockey, but I know that Vegas is valuing him as someone, or DK Sportsbook is valuing him as someone that has a 58% chance to get this over. If we are consistently chasing good numbers like that, it's going to be beneficial. And those were the best odds out there that I was able to find thus far this morning. You know, looking at NHL, a little bit of soccer, looking at NBA, the best odds that we have out there right now as it sits. So this is kind of what my bets for today are going to be looking at for today. And I do think if we do get, you know, better bets as the day goes on, as basically the game projections come out and they can set their over and unders, I might do another video this afternoon, a faster video, just covering the top bets that come out this afternoon, because obviously it's NBA DFS, stuff changes throughout the day, and that's what makes it difficult to put out this content. A lot of people will come in at like 4 p.m. and things will have already changed. You know, it's up to the viewer to kind of decide which information is also still relevant at that time. So if I could kind of put out another video, an updated video, maybe a shorter video that just says, all right, these are the updated best bets, I might do that as well. But there is an advantage to getting in there before the props change. Like yesterday, Donovan Mitchell went from 27.5 and it didn't end up mattering, but they then price corrected him to like 29.5 for his point total. And that can be something that is a big difference throughout the year. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to put out more content for you guys. All right, let's have a good slate. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.